What is going on, everyone? My name is Reed if you're new here. And in today's video, we're going to talk about, is it more cost effective to buy a mega truck or to build one? We're going to go over a cheap build, all the costs. We're going to compare it to other builds that are for sale right now. And then the answer is going to be at the end of the video. You're not going to want to miss it. Stay tuned. So first and foremost, what is a mega truck, right? What defines a mega truck? And there's really no written rule book as to what the stipulations are. My personal opinion, once you break into the Rockwells, when you get into the 2.5 tons or better, that's when you're breaking into the mega truck world. You can have mega truck on boggers, most of them are on tractor tires. There's a lot of different variations there. My personal opinion, you know, it's a big truck, big tires. It's on 2.5 tons or betters. Most of the time 4-linked and coilovers, but we'll get into all that. But 2.5 tons or better is what we're going to cover here. If you're still on 1 tons, sorry, this video isn't for you. So starting off with the body, it can literally be anything. I've seen some of the craziest, stupidest stuff as mega trucks. I've literally seen planes, minivans, pickup trucks, SUVs, diesel, gas, all kinds of stuff. Most of the time, it's a pickup truck. You know, obviously there is people in this game that have a lot of money and they have brand new trucks and stuff like that, but a lot of people, you know, moderate people, it's just a regular truck. I got a couple screenshots on here. You can see, you can build it out of a 1500, you could build it out of a 3/4 ton. My personal opinion is I would want a 3/4 ton or 1 ton to start with because the frame is thicker. Normally the motor's bigger. You get a 6.0 LS or you get an 8.1. I'm a Chevrolet guy, or, you know, you get a big block Ford 460, whatever. If I was gonna start from the beginning, I would start with a 3/4 ton. Now that price varies on what you buy, but I would say anywhere in between 2,500 and 5 grand, you could get a truck. And obviously you're gonna have to be mechanically inclined if you're gonna build a truck, you know, or you're gonna even own one unless you have a lot of money, because it'll nickel and dime you to death. You gotta be able to change wheel bearings, you gotta be able to change third members, motors, transmissions. This sport it's expensive, you know, so you gotta be able to maintain it. You gotta be able to have a good set of tools. If you're not prepared for that, pick up golfing or something, because this isn't for you, all right? Now, what would be the next big expense? The transfer case. Now, you can get a nice SCS drop box. You can get a Profab drop box. They have quick change drop boxes where you can change the gear ratio from 3 to 4 to 5 to 1. In this particular instance, I'm gonna try and do this as cost effective as possible, as cheap as possible. So we're talking junkyard stuff. So I got a couple trucks outside I'm gonna give you a couple different scenarios on you can look at, and then we're gonna come back in here and we're gonna write some numbers down. All right, so the first transfer case we're gonna talk about is a T136, and this is in my Mater truck. This truck was built very cheaply, but very well. For those of you who don't know, here is the truck. This transfer case is out of a 2.5, okay? These are very easy to find because they're not very sought after. This transfer case has a 1-to-1 in high and a 2-to-1 in low. They're air actuated to lock it in and out of 4-wheel drive. This truck doesn't have onboard air, so it's always locked in for low for me. So it's always 2-to-1. This truck gets down. It's on 18.4s, which measure out to about a 57-inch tire. I mean, it's got power. It's got a manual shift valve body. It's got a 6.0 LS. This truck it'll rip. I mean, it keeps me very well entertained. Maybe a 3 or 4-to-1 would be absolutely perfect for this truck, but those transfer cases are just so expensive. This is way more cost effective. You can get one of these things for about 500 bucks. They're pretty ready available where I'm at in Central Florida. So this is a very cheap, cost effective way in order to get technically a drop box. You can see where the jack shaft is going from my transmission into the transfer case. This rear drive shaft is actually the factory length of a Deuce. So depending upon how far along your build is, you could potentially even use some of the drive shafts from the 2.5. So T136 out of an M35A2 2.5, 2-to-1 gear ratio, very strong transfer case. You're not going to break it. Downside is, wish it was geared a little lower, but you know, for the money, you can't beat it. All right, here is another cost-effective way in order to get a good gear ratio out of your transfer case. This would be considered dual transfer cases, a doubler. Sometimes you can get transfer cases that bolt to each other. A lot of times guys in the mud game will run them this way. This is what I'm talking about. So this truck was originally four-wheel drive from the factory. This is a Chevy 2500. Four-wheel drive transmission. Four-wheel drive transfer case is still there. So this is a Chevrolet 261 transfer case. It's got a jack shaft. This is a Dana 200. Okay, so you can see this is dropped a little bit. You can see the angle on the jack shaft. So then this gives this angle, this whole truck's apart. I'm redoing a bunch of stuff on it right now, but this gives this a decent angle to go to the top hat of the pinion on the Rockwells. That's another thing that's nice about the Rockwells is the pinion angle's up real high. So that's another way to do this. So as far as gear ratio goes, this is a 272-to-1 gear ratio in low, and then in low in the Dana 200 it's 1.91-to-1, so almost 2-to-1, and that's almost 3-to-1. If you do the math, it comes out to a 4.63-to-1, which is almost 5-to-1. And that's a pretty damn good ratio. I mean, in this truck, when both of the transfer cases are in low, it's nice. And also, too, what's something that's cool about having the factory transfer case is you can lock it in high, and that's 1-to-1, and it's a lot easier on the whole truck itself to be doing trail riding. And then when you want to go romp it in the mud, you can drop that transfer case in low. So that's another really cost-effective way is run dual transfer cases. That Dana 200, I'll look them up here real quick. I'll put a screenshot of it. They're not very expensive, and then obviously if you have a factory transfer case, it doesn't cost you anything. None of those drive shafts are balanced or anything like that. You can literally make all that stuff yourself. Dual transfer cases, another cost-effective way to get good drop and a good gear ratio. All right, so whether you go with the military T136 or you go dual cases, they're pretty inexpensive, so I'm just gonna put a cap on that at about 500 bucks. So we'll go T case 500. And also too, guys, I am a wheeler and dealer. I came from nothing. I used to ride the city bus, all that good stuff. So if you've been wheeling and dealing long enough, you know you have to pay for convenience. So if you're gonna build your truck and you wanna do it as cost effective as possible, you have to scour Marketplace and you have to be on top of the deals when they come up. If you wanna build your truck in 1 month, you're gonna pay premium dollar for all these parts because people are gonna know what they have. But if you wait for them to pop up and they're cheap, that's the best way to do it. The longer you wait, the better deal you get. That's what I always say. So up next are gonna be the axles. And you already know the bare minimum we can do here is 2.5-ton Rockwells. That's what both this truck and this truck are on. So the deal with the Rockwells is they come out of deuce and a halves. Deuce and a halves are old military trucks. They rust out, nobody wants them, they sit forever, blah, blah, blah. You're gonna pay $2,000 for a set of Rockwells. Maybe you can get it a little cheaper. That's about the ongoing rate. If you're a super big wheeler and dealer like I am, you'll buy a whole deuce and a half, take the axles out of it, and then scrap the rest. I recently bought 2 deuce and a halves for $2,000, and they were fully complete, but they were rusty. And I know you're like, oh man, you'll never find that deal again. Bullshit, because if you look long enough, you will. But anyway, $2,000 is what you're going to spend on axles. You're going to weld the rear, you're going to leave the front open, or else it's going to be kind of hard to steer. This one is locked in the front too, but this thing is a friggin' mudding machine. So that's up to you whether you want to weld it front or rear. But 2,000 bucks for it. What I will say is there's 2 kinds of axles. There's ball and claw and U-joint style. The ball and claw is weaker than the U-joint style. The U-joint style is literally, it looks like a U-joint, like a regular pickup truck axle shaft, like a Dana 60. It's got a U-joint in here. The ball and claw style is less sought after. So whenever you're looking for them, if you can get the U-joint style axle shafts, try to get those. They're stronger. All right, so 2,000 bucks for axles, 2.5 ton. So 2.5 ton front/rear axles. 2K. All day. I'll put a screenshot up right now. So up next, we're gonna talk about rims and tires. I got 2 different sets here, and they're two good examples. So these are 18.4s. I think some of these, like this technically is a different tire than this one, but these are all 18.4s. You know, this truck was built cheaply. Obviously there's a lot of dry rot on these tires, so they're all tubed, okay? The rims are kind of decent. They're nothing super fancy. These were put on afterwards. We're gonna ex-nay those because those were sent to us for free because they sponsor us. But the rims and tires are just steel wheels, and these are groove tires because they were wore out, and they're all tube. These are cheap tires. Here's another example of cheap tires. I mean, these rims are deuce-and-a-half rims that are welded to other rims that probably came off the tractor or whatever. These are R1s. I think they're 14.9s. They're not super crazy. They got some dry rot too, but they get the job done. Both of these trucks, they bog, they rip, you know, like we let them have it. Yeah, 14.9. And really, you don't want to go super big on 2.5 tons. Once you really, 18.4s are getting kind of big. When you're going to 23.1s on 2.5 tons, you're going to start breaking these guys, axle shafts. Ask me how I know that. So really, you're not going to go over 14.9s, more or less. You can find rims and tires all day long that same condition. They got some dry rot. They're a little lower tread, whatever, for about 2,000 bucks. I'll put another screenshot up right now. So keep that in mind too. Rims and tires are gonna run you about $2,000, all right? So, rims and tires, $2K, all right? They're all over the place. So the next thing we're gonna talk about is all the brackets on the axle that all the 4-link bars go to, that all the shocks go to and everything, the top hats for the axles. Every mega truck's gotta have them. So this is the top hat that bolts to the top of the axle. It bolts down here. These get sent to you as a kit, and then you weld these on however your build is going, you know, so all these get welded on afterwards. A lot of the kits will come with brackets to weld the link bars on too. These link bars go to the top of the top hat and everything, so you're gonna have to have that front and rear. That's gonna run you, depending upon where you get it from, anywhere from $700 to $1,000, okay? You have to have those. You have to have a way to put your link bars to your axles. So about $1,000 into that. So top hats, we'll go 1K, all right? Up next, heim joints. You're probably gonna run between 1.25 and 1.5 inch heim joint. Your heim joints connect to all your link bars. You're gonna need, what, 16 of them? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, yeah. 8 on each side. So the reason also I'm not giving you a used price for the heim joints or the top hats or anything is you'll probably never find them used. And then also they're a wear item. Eventually they wear out too. So you're gonna wanna buy all that stuff new. So the probability of you finding it used is probably highly unlikely. So for a good set of heim joints, like I said, the price varies, but let's just say you're gonna be anywhere with hardware, because you're gonna need hardware for all that too, about $1,500. So say heim joints with bolts, about another $1,500. Alrighty. You're gonna be about $1,500 on the heim joints. All right. Up next, we're gonna talk about shocks, okay? So in this particular scenario, we're not gonna go with a coilover route. This truck is on coilovers, but the coilovers don't even match front and rear. Finding coilovers used are pretty hard too. You don't see that very often. The way more cost-effective way, I mean, those coilovers get into the thousands and thousands. The way more cost-effective way is you can do it one or two ways. This truck, it literally has a coil spring, like a lift spring, out of God only knows, and then literally regular shocks, okay? This truck used to have leaf springs on it beforehand, and it was on 2.5 tons. The downside is ride quality, you're gonna suffer a little bit. I've driven it in this truck. I don't think it rides that bad, but you know, we're trying to build one as cheap as possible, right? This is gonna be a hard thing to put a number on, you know, because you're not gonna buy brand new coil springs to put under your truck that you're fabricating it for. You're gonna wanna find that used from a junkyard or somewhere else. Obviously, you could see This was built to accommodate the spring, to accommodate the ride height. Same with the rear. That was built to accommodate the spring. These kind of look like stock springs out of something to me. So this is going to be a little bit of a hard one, but I'm just going to put a cap on springs and shocks of $1,000 because you can buy leaf springs for a couple $100 and go that route, but then you got the metal and the shocks too. You know, maybe you spend $300 or $400 on shocks if you buy them brand new. We're just going to say whatever spring setup you go with, if you're going to do it cheaply, let's just put a cap on it of $1,000. So going back to our board here, we'll go springs slash shocks, 1,000. So next we're going to talk about the steering. All the mega trucks have a hydraulic cylinder here. They have 2 power steering lines coming up here, and it's going up to the orbital valve. Sometimes the orbital valve is in different spots. These other 2 lines are going to tie into your factory steering. One's going to be your high pressure line and one's going to be a return. I don't care where you get it from, you're not getting all that shit for less than $1,000. I mean, you can get a PSC kit for $2,200 or whatever. I mean, we're trying to do this as cheap as possible. So let's just say if you buy a kit with the orbital valve, you reuse your power steering pump that's on your truck with the ram and everything, not a double-ended one, just a cheap one, you're talking $1,000 minimum for steering. All right, so steering kit, 1K. I'll put a screenshot up there as well. There's a website, Mega 4x4 Parts here in Florida. That guy doesn't have the most expensive stuff, but it is priced very cost effectively, and I do business with him. Check it out if you're trying to build a truck cheaply. I will leave a link in the description below. Sorry, I can't talk right now. So next we're going to talk about drive shafts. This is also a very loaded question because it depends what you're working on. Some of the drive shafts that you're going to have on these trucks that you're building, you're going to be able to cut down and reuse. And you know, sometimes when you buy a whole deuce, you're going to reuse some of the drive shafts out of that if that's the route you go. It's a hard question to answer, okay? If you're going to get custom drive shafts made, it's going to cost you thousands. It's going to be a shit ton of money. But we're trying to do this as cost effectively as possible. So let's just say, hypothetically speaking, you're running a deuce transfer case, you're running a deuce drive shafts and everything. We'll put like $500 on it. That's with cutting them down, you're welding them together, you're getting them as close as you can. If they're not that balanced, maybe you cut them and re-weld them again, you know? So let's just say drive shafts, easily, minimum, you're gonna spend $1,000. So drive shafts, 1K. All right, so up next we're going to talk about the actual subframe and the link bars. There's 2 ways you can go with this. You can go DOM tubing or you can go Schedule 80. The DOM, hands down, it's better. It's better metal, it's thicker wall, it's 100% the better route to go. A lot of trucks are made out of Schedule 80. You can literally go to like Home Depot, I'm pretty sure, or Lowe's, and buy a Schedule 80, what is it, like 2-inch tubing, and that is the more cost-effective way. I've even heard some people say they prefer Schedule 80 over the DOM because Schedule 80 will bend and DOM will break. I don't know how true that is or not, but this is also going to be a hard one to put a number on because it depends on how you're going to build your subframe and how big your truck is going to be, because how big it is going to be how long the link bars are going to be. I ran some numbers online with some stuff that I found with how much Schedule 80 costs and roughly about the amount of metal you would need for the subframes and things of that nature, and I'm pretty sure you'd be around that $1,500 mark. If you think you're disagreeing with me on that, you're probably right, because maybe you've done it more than I have. I've technically never even built a mega truck from the ground up. I just always buy these turds and rebuild them because that's what I do. That's what my channel is, Reed's Rebuilds, right? So we're gonna put $1,500 on the tubing to 4-link it. Comment below what you think about that. So we'll go link bars, and cradle, 1,500 bucks in metal. And mind you, also, clearly this is no labor. All right, so all this stuff on here it's all the bare bones, the bare essentials, what you need to build a mega truck. I mean, this is the bottom of the barrel mega truck. You know, I mean, yes, you're out there bogging, you're having a good time, but you could put tens of thousands of dollars more into this build. You know, you could put big motor, big transmission, you could put oversend axles, you know, you could put lockers in it, you could have nice wheels, nice tires. I mean, this is literally, it doesn't get any cheaper in this. So the whole educational purpose of this video is it more cost effective to buy a mega truck or to build one? So we're gonna add this number up, and then we're gonna see some builds that are for sale, and we're gonna go over both of them and see, you know, what we're looking at there. So let's see here. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So we'll go total 16,500. All right, so this is our total number, 16,500 for a pretty bare bones mega truck. And mind you, this is without labor. You gotta have a welder, you gotta have good tools, you gotta have some type of equipment to put the axles in and out of the back of your trailer, everything like that. I mean, you gotta have stuff to build this truck. This is bare bones, dude. I mean, and a lot of people will probably disagree with some of the prices that I'm putting on here, but I think the prices are achievable. So now that we got our base number for a very basic 4-linked mega truck, now let's look at some of the trucks that are for sale and compare that to this 16,500 and see what you guys think. All right, so very quickly, I just scoured Marketplace and I found this 90 Chevy. I wrote down a couple quick key bulletins. I put the screenshot up there for you guys. So this truck is on 5 tons, which 5 tons, those axles run about $3 grand plus front and rear. So that's way better than our 2.5 tons. It's on R2 18.4s, which the R2s have deeper tread. So that's way better than any crappy tires we're gonna get for $2,000. It's got an SCS drop box, which does have 2 and 4-wheel drive, and you can change the gears in that. Way better drop box than what we have quoted over here. Big block, 454, coilovers. The truck is running, driving, and I think it even said it had AC. He's asking $11,000 for it, and if he's asking 11, you know you could get it cheaper than that. So this is one example. 11,000 bucks for this truck. Let's look at another one. All right, here's another one I'm gonna throw up there for you guys. It's a 2000-ish Chevy Avalanche, 4-door crew cab Chevy. It's on 2.5 tons, Profab transfer case, nice drop box. It's got new 14.9s, not dry rotted, so that's kind of cool. It's got coilovers all the way around, fully 4-linked. The guy's asking 12,000 bucks. It's been for sale for a while too. I bet you could get this truck closer to 10. And it's got nice coilovers, nice transfer case. It's running, driving, ready to go. So that's another example. Way better than our 16.5 price with our cheap stuff. So yeah. So this is the question, right? The whole video is about, is it cheaper to buy or build a truck? Hands down, 110%, my opinion is it's always cheaper to buy it. When you're building these trucks, the time, the money, the effort, it gets away from you. You know, I mean, you're constantly working on them. And something too, it's not that it's only more cost effective to buy one outright, it's the time, man. I mean, nobody thinks about all those weekends, all those nights that they're wrenching on it, on the garage, just to get it running and driving. And then you get it together and, you know, you're constantly blowing the same line, or you can't figure out this problem. You know, you have to work these kinks out of a brand new build. A lot of these trucks that have been together for a while, these kinks have been addressed. So in my opinion, I would rather buy one than build one from scratch. Will I probably build one from scratch one day? Yeah, but this video is about buying or building one. And hands down, buying one is way more cost effective. It's a better route to go. And then another example too, we won't get too super far into it, but I know some of the guys, they got, you know, 300-400 grand in their truck. Nobody spends that much money buying a mega truck. When those trucks are all said and done, they sell for 100-150 grand, and they are the baddest shit out there. Nobody's got badder trucks in them, and they got close probably to $500,000 in them sometimes. I mean, they got 200-400 grand in these trucks, and just people who have that type of money have that type of money for a reason. They're good with their money. They're not spending 400 grand on a truck. You know, somebody who obviously is doing very well at one point in time put that type of money into the truck, but someone who's not passionate about it for a business write-off, they're going to advertise it or whatever. Yeah, they'll spend 150 grand on it, but it's always more cost effective to buy the truck rather than build it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it was informative for you. If you have any questions, please comment below. I appreciate you guys watching. As always, stay blogging, like, subscribe. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.